Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the October 28th City Council meeting. We will now call the meeting to order. And I see Waitai over, oh, there he is. Hello, Councilmember, Vice Mayor Waitai Kwok. So what we will do is do a roll call. We'll do it by visual check. Vice Mayor Kwok is remote, but Councilmember McCormick?
Present.
Councilmember Anduri?
Present.
Councilmember Candell?
Present.
Vice Mayor Kwok?
Present.
I am here. The council is all together, so we will call to order the meeting with the adoption of the agenda.
I move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay, and as Vice Mayor Kwok is remote, we will also do a remote vote to adopt the agenda. Councilmember McCormick?
Aye.
Councilmember Andori?
Aye.
Councilmember Candell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kwok?
Aye.
And I am an aye. The agenda is adopted for today, and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, move on to agenda item number 5 for public comments. Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda tonight?
Mayor Dawson, I have one speaker slip for persons in the community hall. James Sherrill. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Welcome, James.
Okay, it's the election time. I see a lot of flyers going around regarding the housing. I have a concern, all the housing we approved for because of the state mandate. However, do we have any traffic management master plan? Just if we have it, it's good. I tell you my experience as an ex-Caltrans employee. During the 90s, city of Pleasanton, it's in the 580 corridor. So they approved a lot of housing. So we had a project for the freeway management, congestion management for the RAM metering. So once the project come into action, the city complained because a lot of backup on the the city streets. So everything when the Caltrans yanked the project because all the cities complained. So my point is, down the road, we have to face the music. How do you, you can only accomplish so much with interconnecting the signals, but how do you, you have to have a plan to address the issue. That's my point.
Thank you for addressing your concerns. Are there any questions, Speaker? Thank you for your comment. Any other comments?
I have no additional speakers in the room, but I do have a remote participant, Mike Hayes.
Welcome, Mike.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I'm unmuted. And I will do my 3 minutes. Good evening, members of the City Council and fellow residents. I'm Mike Hayes. I'm a longtime resident and business owner. I'm here to speak about an exciting initiative that could position Lafayette as a hub for AI sustainability and innovation. Recently, my friend and fellow Lafayette resident, Nakul Thomas, and I had the privilege of networking with 52 executive MBA strategists from Espoo, Finland, a city renowned for its sustainability development. We taught, lectured, and listened to these leaders about leveraging AI for business networking and sustainability. This experience illuminated the immense potential of Lafayette to become a leader in AI-driven sustainability. We learned how Espoo used a narrative storytelling approach developed by Oxford University researchers to become Europe's most sustainable city. I believe we can adapt this strategy to address our own challenges, including our $2 million budget deficit, while creating a vibrant future for Lafayette. I propose we establish an AI Media Literacy Committee or a commission, develop AI literacy programs for residents of all ages, advise the council on AI-related policies, explore economic opportunities in the AI sector, enhance city services using AI, address ethical considerations of AI adoption. By combining the initiatives with the Oxford ESPO narrative storytelling strategy, we can develop a compelling vision for Lafayette's future, engage all stakeholders in engaging and shaping this vision, guide decision-making, policy development, continue evolving our story on community input. This approach can transform Lafayette into a hub for responsible AI adoption and innovation while maintaining our semi-rural character and enhancing our vibrant downtown. I would position us as a forward-thinking, small city prepared for technological changes ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions for Mike? No. Okay. Thank you. Any more speakers?
Yes, but before we move forward, can Vice Mayor Kwok confirm that there are no other individuals with you at this time at your remote location?
There are no other individuals at the remote location today.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Libby Henry.
Welcome, Libby.
This is weird. I didn't get the connection thing. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. Libby Henry, 3812C Happy Valley Road in Lafayette. And I just wanted to continue my expose on what Lafayette needs in its city council. Being a nice person isn't good enough. All the candidates are very nice people, very well-intentioned people, and I have no doubt about that. But nice doesn't fit or rise to this occasion, this election, this year in Lafayette, in California, now. We need individuals who will direct and keep track of the staff rather than the other way around, as has been going on for years. Of course, on the surface, the staff says it takes direction from the city council, but what is not often ignored and certainly not transparently made public to citizens is how much the city council relies on staff to give information and for recommendations for action. I'll just give the example of the hiring of the housing element consultant who has cost the city a lot of money, and the lack of transparency. About 2 years ago, the staff knew about this deficit, and now we're being forced into a do or die situation. I've been thinking a lot about integrity, and if the cause is just and fair, then there should be no misinformation, subterfuge, or misdirection, as is happening at every level of government, local, state, and national. And a few quotes have come to mind from some very wise people. I'm not going to take credit myself. First of all, the one that's attributed to Albert Einstein: insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get different results, which is what our state legislature has been engaged in for over 5 years now. But nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. Treat thyself, every heart vibrates to that string. And of course, that's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. This above all, to thine own self be true. These are things that I live by. The trust of the innocent is the liar's most useful And whoever's careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters.
Thank you, Libby. Appreciate your comments. Are there any other public comments?
There are no additional comments at this time, Mayor.
All right. That we will close public comments and move on to city manager's update. And as City Manager Srivatsa is out, is that you, Tracy? Thank you.
Thank you. I have one update from the Planning Department. The Planning Department is actively working on 3 key areas of the municipal code. The tree protection ordinance update is set to be reviewed by the City Council for adoption this fall. The accessory dwelling unit ordinance update is scheduled for review by the Planning Commission in November and the City Council in December. And amendments to the zoning ordinance aimed at implementing the housing element will be presented to both the Planning Commission and the City Council by the end of the year.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I know that's a lot of work at once. Do you have a question?
Yeah, Tracy, thanks. Great. Are you going to have those zoning changes going through Planning Commission first and then to City Council? Okay, it didn't sound like we're going to have a joint meeting. I was just making sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now ready for our presentations. We welcome up our Banner Advisory Committee.
Good evening, Mayor Dawson and council members. My name is Lori Lane. I'm the chair of the Banner Advisory Committee here in Lafayette. I'm here with Larry Blodgett, my co-commissioner. We are a small but mighty commission. Judith Klein is another member, as well as Armand Handelou, I hope I got that name right, chair of the Design Review Committee. We're also have the Chamber of Commerce liaison, Sarah Regan, also attends our meetings. We have the most recent banner that will come before you, which was produced in 2021 up in November. That's Shop Local Lafayette. In 2021, just for some background, probably you know this, we have reduced the number of rotations to just about, what you see before you. And those are the months in which they rotated in 2024. So there's that Shop Local Lafayette. There's a mix of about 2 months that these banners hang. And our goals in 2024, we are a little bit behind due to some staff resources and scheduling. So here you'll see, thank you. Actually, Suzanne is remote. We appreciate this. Access to banners, or we need to assess the banners that we intend to retire. We take inventory of these banners. We make sure that they're in good working order and the color is still viable for the banner's useful life. We, as we design or talk about new banners, we certainly bring those before the council as and when appropriate. And we are still under works for exploring opportunities to repurpose retired banners. We think there may be a useful aftermarket for those and a well thought out way to transform those wonderful banners. The banner policy update is also underway, and we appreciate being able to serve in this capacity. And we welcome any questions.
Thank you, Lori and Larry, for being here tonight and for your presentation. And obviously, the banners have just been brought so much to the vibrancy of our downtown. So thank you for the considerate work that you've been doing for years now. Are there any questions?
Great. Well, thank you very much. No, I agree. The banners just add such a charm and kind of help mark the seasons downtown. I do love them. You mentioned the banner policy is underway. You're rewriting. Can you explain a little bit what what changes you're making or thinking, or what the goals are for the update?
Yeah, I'm happy to address that. The main banners that are on the central light posts, that policy is pretty well in effect. Originally, when Plaza Park was developed with the shorter battery park lights, there was discussions about other banners being hung there. We were approached by the Community Foundation of Lafayette about possibly developing a banner for that area. COVID kind of slowed that up a little bit, as it did many things. But we're trying to develop a program specifically for Plaza Park. The unique challenge we have with the banners, of course, is we don't do individual organizations. And so that's been a real challenge. A number of years ago, we had Town Hall approach us wanting banners. And we said, if we have you do it, then what about this and this? So the compromise, that's how we developed the Lafayette Has History banners, which I think was very successful after a couple of iterations with our hired designer. So that's the policy that we're currently working on, John.
Any other questions? Okay. Any public comment?
Mayor Dawson, I have no persons in the meeting hall and no hands raised in our virtual audience.
Okay, bring it back. So with that, Councilmember Nduri?
Well, I just first want to thank you for your service on this committee, because I think it really does add to the downtown, these very well-designed banners. I just want to point out that in the city budget, we've got $35,000 set aside for the Banner Advisory Committee for 24-25, but most likely the amount that will be spent this year is $12,600, because it's $1,800 per rotation. You've got 7 city-paid rotations here. So just, if anyone's wondering how much the program costs for this fiscal year, it's a little less than $13,000.
If I may comment too, the Chamber of Commerce is actually responsible for the art and wine banners, and I possibly in the res run, but I know the art and wine banners, they are produced at the expenditure of the chamber, and I also believe they incur some of the cost of that as well. So the banners, I've forgotten what our current cost is. At one point, it was $10,000 to produce a set of banners for everything, but as we've expanded our light poles, obviously we've got more banners in one than others, so it's kind of a dance that we do. We're hopeful that Measure H is successful, because I understand, as Lori does, that this committee is probably the lowest hanging fruit in the city's budget, so we'll think good thoughts.
As will we, because it's definitely a good bang for the buck that just brings so much to downtown, and it's just a colorful, wonderful addition. So with that, we will end this, and thank you very, very much for taking the time to be here and make your presentation.
Thank you.
Move on to the consent calendar. Is there any council member who'd like to pull anything off the consent calendar? Okay, any public?
Mayor, I have no public comments on this item.
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
A second?
All right, take a vote. Councilman McCormick,
Aye.
Councilmember Anduri,
Aye.
Councilmember Candell,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kwok.
Aye.
I am an aye. The consent calendar is adopted. And with that, we have no old business, no staff reports, nothing removed from consent calendar. So is there council or commission reports anyone would like to speak of?
A couple of things just to bring up. Did attend the library day, the art tour inside, and so Janice Peacock, I just want to mention, we had 40 community members came together. We got a tour of the public art inside and outside the library. Fantastic. You kind of forget how much art is there and how just wonderful it was, and a little bit of history. So very worthwhile tour, and definitely suggest anybody take it if they can. I also want to just call out 2 recent chamber activities that just were downtown. We recently just had Trick or Treat Street, where we had 1,000 trick-or-treaters, the kids, and then many, probably thousands of parents and chaperones toured downtown, visited lots of businesses. It was just great time, and the restaurants were buzzing all night. It was a lot of energy, a lot of sugar high kids. It was really, really great for just downtown, I think, community, and also good for business on a Friday night where at 7 or 8 it isn't quite as busy, which was great. And recently, of course, we just had a Res Run also, where we had 2,000 runners come from all over to enjoy. It was a very pleasant morning, and it was great. And of course, the Res Run goes for schools, and so a lot of the money raised from the Res Run is going to go back to the community, to our schools, and so it was very successful. So it was very active downtown the last couple of weeks.
Thank you. I was actually coming back into town at the tail end of Trick or Treat Street, and it was just this flurry of activity and color. It was really great. So I'm glad those were both successful events. Any other updates? Please.
So I did go to Cal City, so I got a couple things to bring back to you guys. So the resolution that you guys all considered at the October meeting and voted to abstain on, about having the state lawmakers only pass rules for us local officials that also apply to them, like the Brown Act and campaign finance kind of rules. The resolution was changed a little bit from what you guys saw in the Governance, Transparency, and Labor Relations Subcommittee, and was recommended to pass by a vote of 20-4 in that subcommittee. So I went to the Resolutions Committee meeting at the Long Beach event before it goes to General Assembly, and there it passed by about a 75% approval as well. But when it went to the full league at the General Assembly, they were 17 people shy of quorum, and so now it goes back to the executive board, and the executive board will meet sometime this month and do the final vote on it. So that's what happened there. In another thing I found out was in May of 2024, Senator Glazer, he successfully requested an audit of the Legislative Audit Committee of the HCD Housing Element Review process. So he requested this audit, and it's going on. The audit won't be concluded until sometime in 2025. And so there've been several panels held on it at recent American Planning Association California Conference on Housing Element Improvements and Reform. Participants and panelists universally expressed frustration with the 6-cycle process and strongly emphasized the need for adequate time, consistent review standards, simplification, and additional transparency in the housing element process for the 7th cycle. They also had panels at the American Planning Association in California, and they also expressed universal frustration of the 6th cycle. Cal Cities apparently had 2 planner roundtables in October. I don't know if our staff was able to participate, but I hope they were. And so what has happened is that the city of Pleasanton, their planning staff, wrote a letter to HCD, to the auditor, about their experience. And there was a push by a lot of cities at Cal Cities to do the same thing, is to take this template of Pleasanton's, have your planners look at it, plug and play Lafayette's numbers into it, and also send it to the auditor, because that's the only way they're going to know, right, what happened. And so if it's okay, I can, with all you guys, I'll send that letter to Pleasanton, from Pleasanton to our planners and have them take a look, if that's okay with you guys.
I
Okay,
think that's a great idea,
super.
yeah. Is that process that simple? Mala will just forward it to our planning, okay.
Correct, with no action other than to forward it to planning staff to look into.
Yeah, and then can planning send it back to the other council members so we can see it?
There's not a direction, because we can't give direction for planning staff to actually send the letter, but you could.
No, I mean the
one
letter.
from
Oh, absolutely. You want to see a copy of the letter?
Yeah.
Yes, I think if Councilmember Kendall sends it to staff, then staff can
Yeah,
make it
send it
public.
back to us.
Absolutely.
Great.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, and then one more thing. There was one of the noteworthy sessions that I went to was the California Economic Forecast, and it was navigating economic trends. And so UCLA's Anderson School of Management professor Jerry Nicholsberg was on the panel. And of interest, he is confident that California's long-term forecast is good. So that was good. Also, he said a few times that we'll build a lot of housing in California, but it will not become affordable. I've emailed him, and I want to know why he's saying that. I don't understand that. The other important thing is regarding our sales tax. He said that the best way, it was answering a question, the best way for cities to get a piece of the online sales tax revenue, since he doesn't think that Sacramento will be willing to spread the online taxes from the distribution center cities anytime soon, he said the best way is to pass a local sales tax. And that is what Measure H is. And so Measure H will, whenever anybody orders something online, we will get 0.5 cent of that sales tax. And it goes directly back to us instead of being filtered down and watered down by the county like the rest of the 8.75%. And so I thought that was great news. He was telling all cities, this is the best way for us to get a piece of that pie that we don't get right now, because he doesn't think we're going to get it in a while.
That is good news. Thanks for sharing all that.
Sure.
And thanks for going to the meeting on our behalf. Appreciate it. I only have to report that Recycle Smart, our solid waste authority, we had our meeting last week where we we basically gave contracts out for post-collection, which is a big deal for starting in 2027 for the next 10, 15 years. And we also issued the new RFP for collection, which is even going to be the bigger deal, but we got that out. That's post-collection is basically solid waste, organics, and compost transfer, then the transfer station. There's basically 5 different contracts, so a lot of work over a couple of years, and that's gone out, and we think we have great proposals back and adopted. So that's the news on that end. Any other updates? Councilmember Rendery?
Just a reminder that this Saturday, November 2nd, is Night at the Library. I believe there are still tickets available, so anyone listening in, get your ticket for Night at the Library. And then also to point out in the reference to Slow Down Lafayette, the most important evening of the year to slow down is Halloween. So please observe the speed limits and below on Halloween.
Thank you. If there are no other updates by council, Vice Mayor Kwok, is there anything to add?
No, thank you. I don't have any reports this evening.
Okay, then we'll move on to written communications. And we did get an email letter requesting proclamation recognizing November 6th as Shelter-in-Place Education Day in Lafayette. And are there any questions or comments about that? Okay. Otherwise, would there be anyone wanting to? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Is there public comment?
The mayor's taking public comments on item 15A, and I have no speaker slips and I have no hands raised in our virtual audience.
Thank you.
Okay, so in order to keep this under 30 minutes tonight, I move approval of the proclamation recognizing November 6, 2024 as Shelter-in-Place Education Day in Lafayette.
A second.
Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember McCormick?
Aye.
Councilmember Anduri?
Aye.
Councilmember Candell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kwok?
Aye.
I'm an aye, so we unanimously pass proclamation for November 6th Shelter-in-Place Day. Thank you for that. And with that, then, we can adjourn the meeting. Vice Mayor Kwok, it's good to see you. Safe travels, and thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.